want to unpack for you what the pastoral staff believe that what God is installing for our church. But before we do that, we must be on the same page. And last night, I was sharing with the congregation about what is vibrancy. Okay? We believe FCBC 1, vibrancy means being stretched. Okay? Stretching brings vibrancy. When you stretch a rubber band and release it, it will catapult something out somewhere there. Okay? That's vibrancy. When you are stretched, you will go further, you will go broader, you will go higher. Just like Caleb, as we shared Joshua 14 last night, that he attained new heights to show his vibrancy. Okay? And then he had an enduring spirit that demonstrated his vibrancy. And then he also accomplished the mission that God has given him as a demonstration for his vibrancy. And we believe that that kind of a definition is exactly what Jesus had for disciples. Okay? When Jesus called disciples, he called them to deny yourself, take up the cross, and follow him. He called them to love me more than anything else in this world. Of our relationship, God's relationship with us supersedes everything else, okay, in comparison. And when he asked us to be his disciples, he asked us to make a calculation and said, go all the way. Go all the way. Don't stop halfway. Okay, calculate. Can you build that tower? Can you build that building? You sure you have enough funding? If not, don't start. Don't start that building program. He will say, don't start the discipleship. Don't start to be my followers if you don't intend to finish the course. Okay? If you intend to follow me, I'm committed to you. You better be committed to me. Go all the way. Okay? That's discipleship. And that is aligned with vibrancy. Okay? Being stretched and going out in Jesus' name. And that's what we talked about last night. And with the same understanding and with the same vibrancy that we talked about today, I want to share with you the roadmap that we have for you. Okay, this is what we believe as the future of FCBC 1. You don't have to squint your eyes to see things. It's okay, I'll unpack this slide after slide after slide. But this is like the whole picture, okay? And if you pay attention to the title right here, it is called Strategic Roadmap. It is not a strategic planning where you have measurable goals, where you have steps, where you have evaluation, where you have refinement. We don't have that. This is a roadmap. In a sense, we want to invite the congregation to come alongside with us, to come together to plan with us, to pray, to plan, and to execute. So this is not about telling you exactly all the steps and quarterly report and how the things will go. We are inviting the congregation to come alongside with us on this roadmap and journey together as we move. You notice that the vibrancy is defined here. You notice that we start with an impact center. What is impact center? I'll tell you later. And then from the impact center, we move into ministry impact. And then let's branch out into church life, which is what we are, the church, and branch into community impact. And for that, we have things that we hope that you will participate. And then we branch into local missions, and there are things that we will have here. And then also global missions. And together, by God's grace, we don't know when it will happen. We hope to build a church of 2,000 people. That's the only specific things that we have right now. Because that's the capacity that our church can hold when we build the second MAC, the new MAC. We have a MAC right now. If you have 2 services, each service can hold 500 people. If you build another MAC, which we will build next year, then we can hold 2,000 people. That's the maximum capacity for our church. So that's what I'm holding right now. I'm not saying that it will happen in 5 years. I don't know when, but we will move on the roadmap that will bring us step by step together. Okay? And then this is undergirded by our vision statement. We glorify God by being a vibrant church, driven by a passion for God's Word, God's family, and God's world that reproduces vibrant churches locally and globally. And for some of you who are more academically inclined, some of you students right now, some of you perfectionists, I know you're like trying to draw that map. I want to break it down quickly as soon as possible before you flip the next slide. I will have the hand up for you later. Just in case. Thank you. I can relax now. I can focus. So just focus right now. There will be exactly the same handout for everybody, so don't worry. Just pay attention and focus as we come alongside. So with that, I will just go slide by slide, section by section, and try to explain it to you, okay? This is one strategic roadmap, our vision statement. Can you read together? To glorify God by being a vibrant church, driven by the passion, God's Word, God's family, God's world, that reproduces vibrant churches locally and globally. This is really easy to remember because all you need to remember is we are a church who glorifies God by being a vibrant church that reproduces vibrant churches locally and globally. Okay, how do you do that? Well, just by passionately driven by God's Word, God's family, and God's world. And you can see how things can be put together. Okay, we will reproduce ourselves locally and globally. Okay, and then we also define for you what is vibrancy. Vibrancy means stretching and going, like a rubber band being stretched and released. Then you are catapulted into where God wants you to be. Okay, you stretch, then you go. Okay, we want to be stretched. We want to be challenged. We want to go beyond what we can do. We want to enter into new territory. We want to try out new possibilities. But we want to go out. We want to go out of the four walls of the church. You know, we are wonderful within the four walls. We are protected. We speak the same language. We feel comfortable with each other. We all come under the same values and the same family structure and practices. But God's calling for us is beyond that. God's calling for us is to be witnesses from Jerusalem to Judea to Samaria to the ends of the earth. That's the calling for us. And right now we are wonderfully situated within the four walls of the church. We feel safe, we feel comfortable, we feel good. But that is one part of that. We want to go beyond that, and that can be challenging. But that's our calling. Okay, so we want to be stretched in the process. Okay, and then we want to start with the impact center. Remember the three distinctives that we have to be biblical, intergenerational, and missional. This is the biblical part. The impact center is the training wings of the church. Impact Center is the place where we train our people. We believe that for a church to move forward, the key is personnel. Okay? Everything begins with people. God uses people to achieve His purpose. God uses Moses, Joshua. God uses Caleb. God uses Gideon. God uses all these people to accomplish His purpose. Without people, without people, you can have all the grand plans that you have, but nothing much happens. This is the Impact Center. We just call it Impact Center so that you'll be impacted. Well, this is the training center. This is the Sunday school. This is the training. This is the CTP. This is the TTP. And this is all kinds of things that will train you, equip our people to be vibrant. Okay? It's about leadership. When pastors get together and look at our church, we believe the key ingredient to catapult our church into vibrancy is leadership training. Without focusing on leadership training, nothing much will happen. Okay? Unless people are willing to shoulder some responsibility, have a vision for a certain ministry, and take along some people together to move forward to a certain goal that God has for us, nothing much will happen. So we want to bring our people into a vigorous training program, ongoing, to prepare our people to take up the challenges that God has installed for us. Pastor John Zito is working with me on that, and let me be very honest with you, we are still struggling with this. We don't know how to do it. Well, we know how to do it. We don't know how to do it well. We don't know how to make it work. We don't know how to do it across 3 languages. We don't know how to find enough classrooms for all the trainings to happen. We can do it on weekdays. We can do it on weekends, but we don't know if you will come. Okay? We were wondering on Sunday morning, when everything is packed together, how can we find extra classrooms for us to hold this class for our people? And we look at our church, and we look at the new map that is going to be built, and we wonder, how could that be possible? And we are still struggling with the curriculum. Are we overloading our people? Will it work? Or we are being unrealistic? We're struggling with, are we building a seminary in a church, or are we actually building a training center for our people? We need skill set, but we also need Bible, we need theology. Undergird that. How much we need Bible and theology, and how much skill set we need. We're still struggling with it. So it's a roadmap that we are still trying to formulate, trying to make it work. So pray alongside with us to make it work. But one thing we are sure, we want to see people in our church that will move them from seeker into disciple, and then from disciple into leader, and then from leader into mentor. That's the developmental path, spiritual developmental path for everyone in FGBC Walnut. We don't want our people to stay being seeker all their lives. We pray for God's wisdom to move seeker into disciples, followers of Jesus Christ. Okay? And then when they attain a certain discipleship maturity, we're going to move them into leadership. Positional leadership, maybe deacons and officers and small group leaders and Sunday school teachers and other positions. But they are leaders without position as well. They just take up a certain ministry. They just take up a few people to do something, to accomplish something for God. Okay, that's leadership. And then most churches will stop here, and when we stop here as well. What else? When a deacon retires, what else is installed for him? Okay. When an officer retires, what else is installed for him? Okay. We want to move them into being a mentor, grooming the next generation, helping to equip the new officers and new deacons, and inspiring the next generation to be a part of leadership. So that the mentor, as they move out the developmental path, he will begin to give back. He will begin to give back, and he will begin to give back. And that's a cycle that we hope to grow in the process. So we hope that this is the developmental path that everybody will adopt into your ministry, into your small groups, that you move people from being seeker to disciple to leader to mentor. Into your Sunday school, you move your students from being disciple and leader and mentor. You bring that into your different ministries, but everybody launch and embark on this journey of faith and growth and maturity together. And from the Impact Center, we hope individuals are being trained to move into ministry impact. Okay? The expression of the training that we receive, the expression of the maturity that God has for us, and this expression of ministry will show up in church life, community impact, local missions, and global missions. You see the vision of the vision statement of our church right there. We are being biblical. We are being intergenerational, and we are being missional. See that? This is biblical, and this is intergenerational, and this is missional. Okay? It's right here. So everything that we do is being defined by the vision statement that we have. Okay? Now, what do you mean by church life? Without a vibrant church, you can't reproduce vibrant churches. If we are not vibrant, if we are not serious about our faith, if we are not committed, if we are not willing to be stretched, if we're not willing to go out, then don't even think about building a church that will reflect such values and such practices. No way. You can only reproduce after yourself. Okay? You can only reproduce after yourself. That's why your children look like you. Because they carry your DNA. And if FCBC Walnut doesn't carry the DNA of being stretched, of being vibrant, then whatever ministry that we touch will not be able to be vibrant and will not be able to be stretched and be going outside the four walls of the church. That will not be reflected in the ministries that we touch. So it has to begin with the church life. And what do you mean by church life? Okay. Currently, there are ongoing ministries that we have, and there are other ministries that we hope that you will participate and pray about being a part of. Elderly ministry is very important. 2013, we have 42 million Americans of all races, of all ethnic backgrounds. 42 million Americans who are 65 years and older. By 2025, 10 years later, about 20% of the whole U.S. population will be 65 and older. That's me. And some of you, or many of you. Okay? That's about 1 in 5 of Americans will be 65 and older. And if you are an entrepreneur right now, if you are starting a new business right now, that's the new market. Okay? Go to China, Vietnam, Indonesia, Africa, and start designing walking sticks. Help us to walk more stably. That's a huge business opportunity. If you pick it up from me and start doing well and give me 10% of the share of the company, then I'll donate that to the church mission fund. Then we can do a lot of mission work. Okay? 20%. That's U.S. alone. Okay. Europe, it's even higher. Europe is even higher. Okay? Japan is even more. They have seniors, they have older people, they grow healthier and older. Okay? 20%. That's 60 million Americans will be 65 years old and older by 2025. Think about that. How does the church respond? Meaning, by 2025, in a church, we have a higher percentage of middle-aged people because of immigrant trend and for whatever reason. How do we respond to the need of the seniors in our church? For a country, they build more hospitals, they build more convalescent homes, they build more nursing homes, they have more social welfare and stuff like that for the seniors, right? And then they train more occupational therapy, physical therapy, all kinds of therapy to care for the senior segments of the population. What about the church? How do we respond to the aging, the graying population around us? Okay. It takes a lot of manpower, it takes a lot of volunteers, it takes a lot of transportations, it takes a lot of people to come and serve and make it work. How does it look for our church? Pastor Chiho is the one who is overseeing the ministry right now. But this ministry is not a sunset ministry. We are not heading for Rosehill. This ministry is sunrise ministry. Okay? Huge market. You may not believe it, but there's a church in Southern California who has a senior worship. It's a seniors worship. We have youth worship, right? We have youth worship, we have adult worship, but they have seniors worship. The seniors worship has 1,000 people. 1,000 people getting together just worship because I mean, there's so many of them, so they have their own singers worship. Okay? I don't think they are singing songs like "I'll see you very soon" and "It's over," and "The sun is setting," "Lord, I'm coming home." I think it's more than that. Okay. Something that we can think about worship and prayer. We want to keep focusing on worship and prayer. We believe that is the spiritual life of a church, the vitality of a church. If we don't know how to worship God, if we don't know how to pray before God, there's no fire. The church has no fire. And we want to build on that. Small groups. 70% of our congregations are in small groups. Across the board. Cantonese, Mandarin, English. All congregations, 70% of our people are in small groups. 20 years ago, FCBC Church are well known for Sunday school. 70% of our people are in Sunday school. Now, it's a little bit different. 70% of our people are in small groups. Now, not everybody show up every week or every time, but they are in small groups. If we increase that to 80%, if we increase that to 90%, how would that look like? If we build effective small group ministry to care for one another, to support each other, to love each other, how would that look like for our church? Right? It's a wonderful ministry that we will need to continue to grow together. Biblical counseling. Okay, Pastor John Cito, Pastor Matt Powell, they are both trained in this area, trying to get a license. How would that biblical counseling feed into the church life? Caring for the members who are hurting and reaching out to seekers and newcomers for our church. Okay, we have over 100 members from our church being introduced to the biblical counseling concept. If we continue to build on that, how would that look like? Something that we want to keep growing. Family ministry, Sister Katie has a heart for family ministry. Basically, we are asking parents to disciple your children together with the pastors. You basically outsource the spiritual formation and discipleship to the pastors now, right? Pastors, take care of my kids. Pastors, talk to my kids. Pastors, help them. What about you? We have them once a week. You have them every day. And if you don't do that, we cannot catch up with the current reality. Because your kids are exposed to all kinds of things, alternative lifestyles, LGBT, legalization of this and that, and which restrooms should I enter, this or that. I'm all confused. General confusion right now. If you do not affirm their identity, if you do not affirm who they are, who is going to tell them? We get them once a week, you get them every day. Right? So if you do not disciple them together with us, how could we help the next generation to stand firm in God's Word? Family ministry, ongoing, pray for us. You may go to Katie and say, I want to be a part of that. I want to take on the 50+ ministry. That's me, and some of you. Okay. After September, I hope to bring 50-year-old and above people together through small group ministry. I don't want to start something of what we already have. We just tap into the small group, pull them out, and bring them back to the small group. Okay, instead of creating more and more staff. Okay, when you are 50 and above, you need to take care of 5 things. Then you can move on. If you do not take care of these 5 things, you cannot move on. First of all, you need to learn how to live with your regrets of life. When you are 50-something, you have a lot of regrets. In your youthfulness, in your fleshly desire, in your youthful fleshly desires, you have done many things that were offensive to God and offensive to people. How do you face that? Because by 50 and above, you have more and more time to reflect on those things. They're going to come back to haunt you. Okay? How do you live with the regrets? Secondly, for 50 and above, you have unfinished business. You promise someone, you promise God that you will serve Him. You're not serving Him yet. Okay, are you ready to face your Creator? Okay, you have unfinished business. You have aging parents that you are still committed to honor them and to love them. Okay, how do you finish your unfinished business? Okay, thirdly, you need to finish well and leave a legacy. How does it look like for a Christian to finish well and say, when I give up my last breath, close my eyes, I'm ready to see my Savior? Okay, how to finish well and leave a legacy. Number 4, how to grow old gracefully. If you do not know how to grow old gracefully, what happens is you become grumpy old man. And if you don't deal with that, deny that, you become grumpier old man. And if you still deny and unwilling to face it, you become grumpy, yes, old man. Okay. How to grow old gracefully. Many people grow old. Nobody wants to get close to them because they are impossible. They are just impossible. They are like porcupine. Nobody even dare to touch them because they have regrets in life. They have unfinished business. They have all kinds of stuff within them that they are not ready. They don't know how to relate to people anymore. Okay? How to grow old gracefully. Finally, how to prepare yourself to meet your Creator. How to face death as a Christian. Death is a sure thing in this life. You will die, I will die, everybody dies. But how do you face death? With all the teaching in God's Word. If any of us here, me included, 50 and above, you can take care of these 5 things, you are ready to grow old gracefully. You are ready to face the second half of your life. And that's something I want to share. I want to bring our people together and help us to face the second half of our lives. I want to invite you to join me. I want to put the building program on the forefront of our people so that we remember, because it has been 10 years. And it's going to show up soon. So I want to put it there so that you remember we do have a building program. And we may need to have, most likely we will need to have a second pledge in order to finish the building program. Because if we built 10 years ago, it's much cheaper. But 10 years later, inflation and everything, we need more funding to complete the building. After that, 2 buildings, 2 indoor gym, we could seat about 2,000 people and continue to be a vibrant church that reproduces vibrant churches locally and globally. That's the church life. And this built us as a vibrant church. Okay? Community impact, JOG ministry, joy overflowing group as the autistic ministry that Pastor Wilson started. Okay? And he will continue with that. Community service. If we want to be vibrant and we can afford it to be stretched and go out of the 4 walls of the church, how do we impact the community? How do we touch the lives of the community? I hope some of you in the mid-year say, you know, Pastor, I have a heart for that. Let's get us together, let's pray and seek God and plan for community service. How can we touch the lives of people who live around the church in Walnut, in Diamond Bar, in Hacienda Heights, in Roland Heights, in Chino Hills area? How do we touch those lives in Jesus' name? After school program, you know, we have a facility. We have classrooms, but they are not fully utilized. We can still use it for that purposes. When you build after school program, you don't need to be defined by educational policy where the classrooms have been this big and that size and meet all the building code, right? It's activities. You know, we have the facility. I'm not saying that we will have it or you will have it right away until someone says, hey, let's plan, let's pray, let's build this together. And you can have it in our church, we have the facility. And this is a great way to serve the community as well. But, you know, until the Lord moves someone in our midst to come alongside with us to build this ministry, you will just be something out there. Basketball outreach. We have a great basketball program, effective. Many of you are in the basketball program, including young adults. We play, we coach, and all that thing. But what about we make it outreach? Currently, it's in-reach. It's for our kids, for our people. We enjoy, we have recreation, which is wonderful. We fellowship. But what if we build that into something that can impact the community? And why? Well, very simple. Because many of the immigrant families, they love to come to the U.S. for safety, for security, for opportunities, for investment, for whatever reason. But they are fearful of our culture. They are fearful of what's happening. They are fearful of all the shootings going around here. They are fearful of the kind of a lifestyle that we portray to the world. They want the kids to grow up in a safe environment. And when we have a basketball program that can pack together with character formation, okay, with discipline, with leadership, with teamwork, and sell it to the community, they will come. Because if you say they want the kids to go to the program, they will pay for it. It doesn't have to be free. They will come. And we can hire coaches. We can encourage our young people to come and serve in summer. And this is the summer job. We pay them. With all the fees we collect from the people, we pay. Then our people don't have to go to McDonald's and lick all the burgers. Right? They don't have to go to the hospital and be volunteers. They don't have to go to do other works. They can earn their summer pocket money for the next semester by being a part of the basketball program, by imparting life and value to the young people in this community. And guess what? When the young people come to our church, say we have basketball program, have our church people, have unchurched people, okay? And then they play. And then on the final day, we have this basketball demonstration or competition, to show they would invite the parents to come. And guess what? Not just the parents, the grandparents, the parents, the uncles, the aunties, the nieces, the cousins, they will all come. They will all come with a camcorder. They're going to record all the games, all the great moves, the Jeremy Lin moves. I can't heard. And then, as we go half court, we stop the game and say, thank you for coming. And before the next game starts, Pastor Henry has something to say to you. Pastor Henry will stand up and give a gospel presentation for 50 minutes. And you know what? We reach out to more people than getting a gospel singer to come to our church. Because when you get a musician or gospel band to come to our church to perform, 99% are Christians. 1% are not Christians, right? Right? Happens all the time. Over and over and over again. But if you have a basketball program for the kids there, guess who will come? Many of the seekers will come. Many of the unbelieving parents will come. And in the congregation, in the meeting, there will be like half Christians and half non-Christians. You will reach out to more non-Christians in that one basketball program than your whole year of evangelism outreach. And that's why it's so important. And we already have this program. It is ongoing. We have coaches, we have players, we have people who love this game. And when you enjoy it, can you also coach? Can you also impart character into younger people, providing this program for them? I keep talking about Ibarra School. It's right next to the church. Somehow I just love that school. I just stand on top of the parking area at the corner and then overlook the school. I see flags, I see different nationalities, I see kids running around, and then say, what can our church do? How can the church bless the school? Maybe they need tutorial program that our people, a very well-educated congregation, can help them and serve them. Maybe they need a backpack program where we can provide backpacks every new school year for underprivileged children. Maybe during Christmas and during Thanksgiving, we can provide some turkeys and some hams for family who are economically less capable. How can we serve? How can we give back? The community has embraced this church for the past 22 years. The church has been here since 1992. Okay? They have embraced us. They have tolerated us, our transportation, our parking, our illegal parking, and all this stuff. Blocking our walkways and all this stuff. So far, they still, embrace us. How can we give back to the community and say, thank you, Jesus loves me, I love you, we want to give back to you? Right? How can we give back to Ibarra School? If somebody has that burden, if a few of you have that burden, come and talk to us and pray together for that ministry. Our local missions, we have a church plant in Cross Life. It's been there for 4 years. It's about 140 people, young and old together, which is wonderful. It's bigger than 80% of the churches in the whole United States of America. Because 80% of the churches in the U.S. are 70 people and less than 70 members. That makes up 80% of all the churches in the U.S. So Cross Life is better than 80%. It's on the top 20% now. Financially, they are okay. Every year they have surpluses. They are going strong, and we will envision Cross Life on the path of independence soon, in a year or 2 or 3, we don't know. But when Cross Life become independent, then we want to look into a new church plant. Where would that be? We don't know, but we better start praying, because it takes a few years for the vision to stick in our minds and for people to be mobilized and say, hey, I want to be a part of that. Okay? Where would that be? Most likely towards the east. 60 freeway, I don't know. Asians love 60 freeway. we used to love 10 freeway. That's where Monterey Park, Alhambra, that area. Now we love 60 freeway. All the way from Hacienda Heights, Roland Heights, Diamond Bar, Chino Hills, Corona is where I live, Eastvale, right? And then, keep moving towards the east, towards the desert, Okay, someone say, why don't we build different Bible studies along 60 freeway? And see which Bible study will take off, and whichever take off, we'll plant a church there. How about that? A new church plan for our church. The immigrant ministry, they keep coming. The Mandarin ministry, every Sunday, 8, 10, 12, 15 newcomers. And guess where they come from? 80% from China, right? They are all around us. How can we serve them in Jesus' name? Jesus said to the Israelites, take care of the widows and orphans, and take care of the aliens in your place. Jesus reminded the Israelites that when you harvest your field, don't harvest everything. Whatever drops to the ground, leave it there for the poor to pick them up. And don't cut away everything. Leave the four corners for the poor, because they can go and collect some food for their family. When God built the nation Israel, God wants nation Israel to be sensitive to the need of the poor, of the widows, of the orphans in the country, even aliens in the country. Okay. How does that look like for our church to pay attention to orphans and widows and aliens in our community? How would that look like? How would that immigrant ministry look like within us? For Family Festival Arts Academy, Katie has been doing that. We want that to be more focused and reaching out to people. Church revitalization, Calexico. God is doing something strange and something, very, very beyond our control. 2 months ago, church in Calexico lost their pastor. So the leader down there called me and said, Pastor Albert, can we use your YouTube for our congregation in Calexico? It's called Imperial Valley Chinese Baptist Church. It used to belong to FCBC. Now it is independent, but there's no pastor. It's 3 hours away from our church, on the border of Mexico. So this side is called Calexico. The other side, across the border, is called Mexicali. Mexicali has more Chinese over there. Lots of immigrants, factories. So some people live over here in the US side and establish factory on the other side because it's cheaper there. Okay? So they cross that border every day to work. There's a church in Calexico, and they are saying, can you guys send some people on a regular basis to support us, to be a worship team, to be a speaker, to feed us spiritually? Not everybody can go out to global missions. It takes 3,000 to send someone to China. It takes 3,500 to send someone to somewhere else. But we can drive to Calexico within $100, including gasoline and maybe lodging and things like that. Then most of us can go. Okay? And then when we go, you think that we are helping them? No, we're helping ourselves. We are being revitalized. We are being vibrant. We train ourselves, train our people how to worship, train our people how to interpret, and train our people how to serve and visit and reach out. In evangelism, we go down on Saturday, go to home visits and share the gospel with them. On Sunday to the worship, and then come back on a monthly basis. If there are 3 teams, each team will go every quarter, and that's more sustainable, right? And that will be wonderful. Something that we can consider and be a part of. Global mission, that's more far-fetched, right? We'll be going to Panama, okay? And some of our people from the Kansas congregation has a heart for that ministry. But you know what? Pastor Wilson used to be a missionary in Suriname, in South America. It's more than just Panama, because Costa Rica has immigrants there. Peru has people asking Pastor Wilson, can you send someone, can you come and help us? Okay, Chile is asking, can you send someone down there? We have no pastors down there. Can you guys come and help us? Right? If we connect all this together, it can become a Central America and South America mission outreach for our church. And send people down there regularly to revitalize the church, mobilize the people to reach out to the immigrants down there, because immigrants are worldwide right now. Could that be a ministry that our church can adopt? And some of you have a heart and burden for this ministry. For East Asia, I put Indonesia because we have so many Indonesians, Americans in our midst here. Okay, you still speak the language, you know the culture. The difficulty for a missionary is that when we go to a place, we don't know the language, right? We need to find an interpreter. But for many of us here who are Indonesians of origin, you don't need an interpreter. You know what to say, you know what not to say, and offend the local people. You grew up from there, you know the sensitivity, and you can be so effective, right? How would that look like for our church if we have a partnership in Indonesia and help to revitalize or reach out to minority groups in Indonesia? There are 300 minority groups in Indonesia, spread over 14,000 islands. And they said, depending on high tide or low tide. Okay? On low tide, we have more than 14,000 islands. On high tide, we have less than 14,000 islands because they will be submerged under the water. It's how huge Indonesia is. And Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world. Largest. And yet they are willing to let us share the gospel. What a great opportunity for our congregation that God has brought all of you here. How do we align STM with LTM, our short-term missions, with long-term missions? We send out missionaries all together in 20 units that we are supporting. How can we align with them? Instead of just sending money over there and pray for them occasionally, can we have short-term missions lining up with them on a regular basis? For example, David Wong is going out there to Guinea-Bissau, right? And he will be there doing the work. Can we partner with this agency and say, every year we send 2 teams down there to support his work, so that David's work will always be in our mind David's progress will always be brought back to the church, and we are so closely connected with our brother David's ministry down in West Africa. How to line them up together. Okay? And then with all this, that's how our church will look like as a roadmap. Again, as a recap, the Impact Center that bring people from seeker to disciple to leader to mentor, that will impact the ministry into church life, community impact, local missions, and global missions. Biblical, intergenerational, and missional, with all these possibilities without details. Because the details are in your hands. I have neglected to mention the International Students Ministry. Our brother Peter Liu and his wife, Yolanda, has a heart for this ministry. Okay. 250,000 international students. Majority of them come to Southern California, or California. And around our church, we have Cal Poly, we have Mount Sac, we have Rio Honda, we have Cal State LA, Cal State Fullerton, we have University of Laverne, we have APU, we have Citrus College, we have CBU, California Baptist University in Riverside, we have UC Riverside, all within the circumference of the church. Okay. Are we willing to reach out to the international students? Because we said, sending out people is hard. I can take vacation. It's costly. Fundraising is hard. Doing the whole month of mission month and try to get money from the food, it's only like $12,000, it's not enough to sponsor even 3 or 4 people to go overseas, right? Well, now they come to you. The world is coming to the U.S. through international students, and they come. And they will spend 3, 4, 5 years in our midst, and then they'll be gone. How would that look like for our church if we calculate that great opportunity? And many of us, me included, have been international students before. We know how you felt like. But it's a new generation. In our time, when someone say, extract this international students to our home, they say, oh, Chinese cooking. Let's do dumpling together. Wrap this dumpling together. They will all come. Now, they are not interested. Because they come with cash. They come and buy a Lexus. They come and their parents will buy a home for them, a house to live in, and not to rent the dormitory, right? Now, not everybody is like that, but many of them are like that. They are much more economically capable. You don't use food and think that you will attract them. Not anymore. Okay? But they need the gospel. They are lonely, they need love. That's for sure. How can we connect with them? Okay. Now, if God is touching you in a certain ministry, by tomorrow, we will have a commitment card for you to sign in to tell us which ministry you are interested. You're not committed yet. You are interested. Okay? And then we'll bring you together and say, this is how this ministry looks like. Let's pray. Okay? I want our ministry to begin with prayer. This is not a business plan. Okay? This is not 3 months show the result. That's business. But this is ministry. We don't know. The result ultimately belongs to God. Okay? But we start praying and planning. And when the time is right, then we start executing. Then we want to bring our church into one step at a time. And all these things will happen overnight. And not all things can happen. Because some of you are saying, Pastor Albert, that's not possible. I'm in 3 ministries already. You want us to do more? I don't want those who are already active in ministry. Some of you may be leaders, but we have another 80% who are not really active right now. I'm targeting the 80%. And when the other 80% are mobilized, then it is possible. Depending on the 20%, not likely. We are all flooded, we are under the water right now. Okay? But if we mobilize the other 80%, then it is possible to do it together. But right now, we want you to pray. Pray with us and pray for God's conviction and for God to touch you and say, what are the areas that I feel like I want to be a part of. Let's see how it looks like. And we bring this together. Now, I want to hand you out the map here, over here. Maybe some of you can help me to distribute. Just 2 on each aisle. And you can only take 1, and the rest return back to me, because the next session, I'll go to the Cantonese and Mandarin, and they need those copies too. Okay? So, help me to distribute the people. This is exactly how it looks like in the same thing. Because in the next session, Pastor Henry will lead you in a time of unpacking it. QA time. What do you mean by that? How does it look like? What if? What about this? What about that? And he will help you to unpack together while I move to the next congregation and share the same thing with them. Sounds good?